ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानं वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वटविटपि समीपे भूमिभागे निषण्णं सकलमुनिजनानां ज्ञानदातारमारात् त्रिभुवनगुरुमीशं दक्षिणामूर्तिदेवं जननमरणदुःखच्छेददक्षं नमामि। चित्रं वटतरोर्मूले वृद्धा शिष्या गुरुर्युवा गुरोस्तु मौनं व्याख्यानं शिष्यास्तु छिन्न संशयाः निधये सर्वविद्यानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां गुरवे सर्वलोकानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। चिद्घनाय महेशाय वटमूलनिवासिने सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सर्वात्मत्वमिति स्फुटीकृतमिदं यस्मादमुष्मिंस्तवे तेनास्य श्रवणात् तदर्थमननात् ध्यानाच्च संकीर्तनात् सर्वात्मत्वमहाविभूतिसहितं स्यादीश्वरत्वं स्वतः सिद्ध्येत्तत्पुनरष्टधा परिणतं चैश्वर्यमव्याहतम् सिद्ध्येत्तत्पुनरष्टधा परिणतं चैश्वर्यमव्याहतम्। So we are on to the last verse in the Dakshinamurti Stotram, which is a Phala Shruti. It is talking about the Phala of studying this. Although it is a Stotra, it is really a Prakarana Grantha. It is actually this Dakshinamurti Ashtakam is revealing to us the true nature of ourselves as everything, as the self of all. Sarvatmatvam. So Sarvatmatvam is the one which is being taught here, and that has been taught very clearly also. It has been revealed to you very clearly in this particular stava. Although it is in the form of a praise of Dakshinamurti, the first three lines are actually revealing the teachings of Vedanta. So therefore, what by actually reading this grantha means, again, you should not read this or any Vedanta grantha by yourself. So you have to go and listen to it from a guru, Shravanat, and then whatever you have listened to, that meaning you have to assimilate. You have to understand it with clarity. Okay, so without any doubts, you understand the meaning of whatever you have listened to. That is the manana. Then even after clear understanding, this assimilation is a process. It takes some time. Okay, the clarity has to be a growing clarity. In fact, it keeps on growing, the clarity. Like even there used to be photos, instant photos in the 90s. You take that photo, immediately if you see, you won't see anything in that. Okay, Polaroid camera, we used to call it. So I don't know whether nowadays it is still there. But that Polaroid camera photo will come, and then you have to keep it for some time. And then slowly the images will start appearing in that. It will become clearer and clearer. Like that, Vedanta also, you start attending classes, you listen to the whatever subject matter, you think about that, and you keep thinking about that. In fact, so over a period of time, that clarity increases. There is an increasing clarity and assimilation also due to that. And that takes time. So that is what is the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. All three are important. Okay. And then you also have to teach. The Sankirtana is to be taken as teaching, or simply somebody can say even like every day you get up and chant this Dakshinamurti Stotram. Okay, like you chant Vishnu Sahasranama. You can chant, but again, being a Vedanta Grantha, just chanting for Punya is not the goal of this particular stava. Of course, some people can say, no, if you keep chanting every day, someday you will start understanding it, or at least you will make an effort to understand. So even chanting every day, you will attain this phala. Okay, like that we can take, but that's a long shot, I think. But Sankirtana means, again, teaching to others makes the correct meaning here. That means it makes it even clearer to you. Whenever you start teaching something, you have to assimilate the teaching, and whatever you see, that alone you can communicate to others. So you have to first see clearly what the Shruti is saying. In the light of that, you have to see yourself. Your own vision alone, you can communicate clearly to others. Whatever you see, you have to make others see. That is teaching. So that is the best sadhana, in fact. So everybody who has learned Vedanta should teach also at some point in time. So by all these things, what do you gain? Sarvatmatva Mahavibhuti Sahitam. So first you gain this Mahavibhuti, the great glory, you can say, okay, which is this being the self of all. Sarvatmatvam. Sarvatmatva Mahavibhuti Sahitam. Along with that, what? Ishwaratvam. Ishwaratvam here means knowing that you are not separate from Ishvara. You have gained the nature, the very nature of Ishvara and your nature are one and the same. So you have gained the Ishvaratvam, means the nature of being Ishvara. Ishvara's nature, very nature is your nature, which is Sachidananda. Sachidananda Swarupa is what you have gained. So for yourself, Swataha. And then what? Along with that, Avantara Phala, side effects, okay, is what? Ashtada Parinatamcha Aishwaryam, Avyahatam Aishwaryam. Avyahatam means, how do we say? That which is not hindered, you can say, unhindered, okay, means the powers are not encumbered in any manner, unencumbered powers. And what kind of powers? 8 types of powers. So 8 types of Aishwarya. So this Ashta Siddhi is talked about in general in our Yoga Shastra, even otherwise. Animadi, Ashta Siddhi also you get along with this. That's what is the phala here. Now in the context of that, Sureshwara gave an introduction already. We saw that. He says that Parichinna Mahambhavam Parityajya Anushangikam Purnaham Bhava Labhosya Stotrasya Phalamuchyate. So giving up your limited individuality and owning up to the fact that you are the self of all. That is the phala, Sarvatmatvam. Sarvatmatvam means you have to surrender your individuality and own up to who you are actually. which is the self of all. You give existence to everything. You are Satchidananda Swarupa. So understanding that and becoming the self of all, okay, is the phala. Now this is the phala which is given in Brihadaranyaka also. In many Upanishads also, what Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati, it is there. Or you become the self of all also, it is said. All these things are said in the Upanishad, even in Gita also. So, in fact, in Ishavasyanal, it is even clearly said that you see your Atma in every being, and not only that, you see all the beings in your Atma, like that, both ways. Even in Bhagavad Gita also, similarly it is said. So that is the Sarvatmatvam. They have not left anything in doubt. You are the self of all, and all beings are in you. Both ways it is said. This vision has to be assimilated, understood, and that is the phala. And continuing further, Putra Pautra Griha Kshetra Dhanadhanya Samriddhayaha Arvachinascha Siddhyanti Swargapatala Bhuvishu. So once you gain this phala, then Sureshwara is pointing out even all other things also you get. Putra. What does a normal person want? He wants children, grandchildren, house, land, money, food. Okay, sometimes you may have a lot of money. If you don't have food to eat, what will you do? You cannot eat the money. So all this samriddhi, all this wealth, prosperity, but they are all what? Arvachina. So they are not really what you want, in fact, correct? In one way, you want freedom from all limitations. All these possessions are not really giving you any freedom. In fact, they bind you to themselves, in fact. You can have all these things, then maintaining all of them itself becomes a pain. So they are all not really what you want, in fact. They are somewhat lowly. But they all, you get all these things. Okay. So Shnute Sarvan Kamaan Saha. That's what even Taittiriya Upanishad says. Brahmavida apnoti param, it says. The Brahmavid gains param Brahma itself. Param. The one who knows Brahman gains Brahman, becomes limitless. But along with that, what? You achieve all your desires as though, because your desires, you do not look upon yourself as a wanting person anymore. That is the actual meaning. Okay. So you gain all these things also. And wherever you are, Swarga, Patala, Bhumishu, whether you are in Swarga, whether you are in Patala Loka, or whether you are in this Bhumi, wherever you are, along with this Sarvatmatva, Mahavibhuti, all these other things also you get. Okay. Buy one, get one free, like that. Or gift with purchase, we say nowadays in e-commerce. Okay, you purchase something, you also get a gift. And how is this? He is giving a beautiful analogy. I think I briefly discussed this even previously. So he says, Pake pravartamanasya shitadi pariharavate prasangikascha siddhyanti stotrena anena sarvada. Okay. Anena stotrena. Okay. So by this stotra, sarvada, okay, what do you get? See, like the one who goes to cook, correct? Pake pravartamanasya, one who has started cooking and he is in a cold weather. So if you light the fire, in those days again, or even in gas fire also, you get some heat. But if you are lighting a wooden fire, then you do get heat, and that heat itself is very nice. That is the avantara phala. Or like you bring flowers, but along with that you also enjoy the fragrance of the flowers. Okay. Like that, all these other things also you get from this stotra. This is the analogy Sureshwara is giving here. Okay. All the other things, incidentally you get other things also. Like the one who wants to cook also enjoys the heat of the fire. Similarly, you are actually only interested in moksha, and that moksha is available to you as sarvatmatva bhava, means essentially you are the limitless. You have now become free from all limitations. That is the moksha, so you have gained that. But along with that, all other things also, so many other things also you are now getting. That is what is being pointed out here. And again, in the shloka itself, Aishwarya is talked about, correct? So, Syad Ishwaratvam Swataha and Aishwaryam, all these words are there. What is the meaning of that? Now, Sureshwara is explaining that Aishwaryam Ishwaratvam hi tasya nasti pritak sthitihi purushe dhavamanepi chaya tamanudhavati. So, Aishwaryam means what? Aishwaryam is Ishwarasya bhava. Okay, it's a taddita prayoga. Ishvara, there is an pratyaya comes and then it becomes Aishwarya. And it is Tvam is another pratyaya. Both mean the same thing. Ishvara Tvam. With Ishvara you can add Tvam, or you can add a taddita pratyaya and make it Aishwarya. Whichever way, it is the same meaning. Ishvara ness meaning only both the pratyayas. So the very nature of Ishvara is Aishwaryam. And that very nature cannot be different from that thing, correct? Ishvara's nature cannot be different from Ishvara. So that's why it says, he explains further, Tasya nasti pritak sthitihi. So here, why these things are being said here is, in the context of moksha, people talk about other things. Okay, maybe I think Sureshwara is keeping that in mind. And he is talking about this again here, he is pointing out. Why is he pointing out Tasya Nasti Pritak Sthitihi? Is it not superfluous? One may think. But then I thought, in the context of moksha, people talk about all this Salokya, Sarupya, and all that. So you go and live in the same loka. That's not real moksha. Understand that. You can be in the same loka as long as you think you are a limited individual. It is not moksha. So all this Salokya, Sarupya, etc., I think he is actually saying that that's not what we are looking for here. So you have to gain the very nature of Ishvara. That is what is the thing here. All the other types of moksha and all, maybe it is talked about for people who are attached to such things. Okay. Whatever you want, Shastra sometimes gives you that. So here, Aishwaryam, Ishwaratvam means not being separate from Ishvara. That means your nature and Ishvara's nature is one and the same. And that is why this is not separate means what? It is like Purushe Dhavamanepi Chaya Tam Anudhavati. See, the person and his shadow are not something different, correct? Both are going together only always. So like that he is giving a particular analogy here. This also has a certain meaning. Why is the analogy of shadow given here? Ishvara and Ishwaratvam, when we talk about, what we have to understand is, and Jiva and Jivatvam also, let us take. The Jivatvam and Ishwaratvam are only Chaya. Jiva is also Param Brahma. Ishvara also is Param Brahma. This Ishwaratvam, Jivatvam are all only chaya. They are all only like shadow. They don't have any real existence. The substance is only the person or Brahman here, Param Brahma alone. So these other things come along with, like the shadow comes along with the person. So that Ishwaratvam, the very nature of Ishvara is nothing but being Param Brahma, Sachidananda Swarupa. And that is what, but the Ishwaratvam, otherwise we think, correct, like Sarvajñatvam, Sarvashaktimatvam, Jiva means Jivatvam is there, Alpashaktimatvam, Alpajñatvam. Those things are all chaya only, have to be given up actually. So, this Aishwaryam, Ishwaratvam does not have any, or we can take it the other way around also. All this Aishwaryam, Ishwaratvam, like Sarvajñatvam, etc., we talk about, do not have any existence other than being Brahman. Understand? They do not have tasya nasti pritak sthitihi means what? These things are all mithya because they don't have any independent existence other than Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That alone really exists. Correct? So, there is no separate sthiti for this Ishwaratvam. It is only like a chaya which is there along with the Purusha. Okay? And then further what? Ananta Shaktir Aishwaryam Nishyandas Chani Madaya Swasyeshwaratve Samsiddhe Siddhyanti Swayameva Hi. So this Aishwarya and all, Aishwarya means what? That's what we were talking about, correct? Ananta Shakti Hi. It is Sarva Shakti. All power is there with you, all knowledge, all power, etc. That is Aishwarya. Okay, Ishwarasya Bhava. And that Aishwaryam and drops of that Aishwarya only are these other powers. This Animadi, Ashta Siddhi and all we talk about, correct? Yoga Siddhi. These things are all like drops only. This Aishwarya is Ananta Shakti. It is limitless power, and only a small bit of that or a drop is all these other powers, Animadi, Siddhi. And because of this knowledge, you are gaining Ishwaratva. Okay. Swasya Ishwaratve Samsiddhe. So one gains for oneself this Ishwaratvam. And then what to talk about all these other siddhis. Okay, those things, Swayameva Siddhyanti, you don't have to even think about all those things. They come along with this Ishwaratva. So these other things are all, you need not focus on. That is what again Sureshwara is pointing out here. This Animadi Ashtasiddhi should not become a distraction to anybody. A mumukshu is only focused on gaining moksha, and along with that, whatever siddhis come, let them come. They will all come along with that. That is the understanding here. But why all these siddhis are talked about? That is because only to give Shraddha in the Shastra. Okay. So the siddhis are all important in that way. It gives people Shraddha. So that way we can take them. Not a problem. Okay. Further, same idea. Yadi Aishwarya Viprumbhihi Brahma Vishnu Shivadaya Aishwaryavanto Shasante Sayevatma Sadashivaha. Okay. Yadiya Aishwarya Viprumbhihi. Viprumbhihi means again, Viprumbhihi means it is like a drop only. So Sayeva Atma Sadashiva. This Atma is Sadashiva, always auspicious. Shivaha means we can take it as Mangalam, auspicious. This Atma Swarupa is always auspicious because it is Ananda Swarupa. And this Ananda Swarupa, this Atma Swarupa, that the Aishwarya of that only, and in fact, not just that Aishwarya completely, but drops of that again, Viprung Bihi. With that only Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, they all become Aishwaryavantaha. They gain all their power. They are powerful to do whatever they are doing, correct? Shasante. They are ruling. They are the ones creator, sustainer. All this. In fact, even in Kenopanishad story, I remember here, correct? I don't know, some of you may have studied Kenopanishad. So in that, what happens? All these devas become very, they become proud about their power. Okay, they have become victorious, and after their victory, they are all very proud about themselves. Then one Yaksha appears, and then Devas tell one amongst them, Agni, why don't you go and find out who is this Yaksha? But when the Agni goes there, the Yaksha asks him, who are you? That itself is actually insulting, correct, for a Deva. But anyway, Agni then tells, I am so and so, this, that, I can burn anything and all that. Then Yaksha gives a grass, Trinam. But Agni is not able to burn even a grass. Then Vayu comes. He also says, I am so and so, I can do this, that, etc. But he cannot blow even that blade of grass again. Then all these devas realize that no, then our pride is misplaced. We have to now approach this Yaksha to know who is this with humility and with right attitude. Then Indra takes the help of Uma and then understands that this Yaksha is none other than Param Brahma Swarupam. Like that, there is a story is there in Kenopanishad. So all these devas themselves, their very existence is based on Brahman alone, correct? Even Taittiriya also says something similar. Bhishas madvatah pavate, bhishodeti suryaha, bhishas madagnischendrascha, mrityurdhavati panchamayiti. Like that. Because of the fear, fear means here the Brahman alone makes Agni, Vayu, because their very nature, their very existence, everything is only based on Brahman. Without that, Agni will not be Agni, Vayu cannot be Vayu, you cannot be yourself. So everybody's very nature is actually an effect of Brahman alone, which is the cause of everything. Everything is potentially there only in Brahman. Therefore, all the things, whatever we talk about in this Mithya Jagat, whatever power, whatever glory, everything is only a drop of this Brahman. Means Brahman transcends everything. Brahman is more than all these things because it is at a different order of reality, in fact. Brahman is Satyam. All these things are only Mithya. Correct? Padosya Vishwa Bhutani Tripadasya Amritan Divi. Even Purusha Suktam you take. This whole Jagat, this entire Mithya is only one Pada. Tripadasya Amritan Divi. The rest of the 3/4 is all transcendental. Means it is of a different order of reality. That's what we have to understand. The limitlessness of Brahman is not limited by this Jagat or anything. Even while the Jagat is there, Brahman is Purnaha, Purnamada, Purnamidam. Correct? Even when the Jagat is not there also, the Brahman is Purnaha only. And you can remove this Jagat from Brahman, it will remain as Purnam, complete, limitless. So that's what we have to understand. Only from drops from this Brahma Swarupa, all these Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they are all getting their power from that, and they are ruling whatever they are doing, all that. So here again, another analogy Sureshwara is giving. Pushpam anayata gandaha vinecham anubhuyate purnamaham bhavayuktena parichinna vibhutayaha. So all these siddhis, which are all limited in nature really, okay. In fact, there is a story that it seems that one yogi came to one jnani sitting on the banks of a river. And how did he come? He came walking on the water, okay, and very proud. And he came and told this jnani, hey, see, I can walk on water. I did sadhana for so many years, okay, so that I can walk on water, I can travel on water like this. Like he was so proud about his achievement. Of course, it's a great achievement. But then jnanis asked some other guy, hey, if you want to go across the river, what will you do? Another person who was sitting there, normal person, and that person said, I will give 25 paise to the boatman and he will take me to the other side. So that means what? The implication is that all this Shakti you have gained is only worth so much, in monetarily at least. So like this, the limitations also we have to know. In fact, you become fit for Vedanta by being an accomplished person and also by seeing the limitations of your own accomplishment. That is very important. Anybody who is a student of Vedanta should be an accomplished person in whichever way it is, but also should have seen the limitations of their own accomplishments. Then you are fit to study Vedanta. All other things you can pick up. But this particular thing you should have. Because from there only that mumuksha starts. This much of analysis you should have done, that all your accomplishments are really limited and that's not what I'm really seeking in life. And then from there everything starts. Okay, so that Purushartha Nischaya, this analysis of what you really want has to be done. That is the most important analysis one has to do. And all other things can follow after that. So all these siddhis are all limited. Parichinna vibhutayaha. And they are all like what? When the person who is bringing flowers, pushpamanayata gantaha vinecham anubhuyate, without his own desire also, he is bringing the flowers for somebody else. He doesn't have any desire for these flowers. But he is anyway enjoying that. These flowers he is enjoying. And why somebody is enjoying that? Because the flowers are fragrant anyway. And it is not for you, but since you are incidentally bringing it, you are enjoying it. Similarly, you are interested in moksha, in being this complete person, correct? Who is not wanting in any way. You are not wanting anything in any way. But all these limited vibhutis, these also are coming to you anyway, incidentally, so you gain that. Okay? So, that is how it works. Give me a minute, somebody is disturbing there. So, all these siddhis, they are only incidental. So that we have to always keep in mind. So that is being reinforced again and again by Sureshwara here. Now he goes into describing these 8 siddhis. Having said all these things, okay, so what are these 8 siddhis? There some 10 more slokas are there. So we'll see that. Anima, Mahima, Chaiva, Garima, Laghima, Tatha, Praptif, Prakamyam, Ishitvam, Vashitvam, Chashta Siddhayaha. So what are these Ashta Siddhis? Anima, Mahima, Garima, Laghima. Okay, so Anima means becoming infinitesimal, small, atomic size. Mahima, becoming infinite, becoming very, very big. Okay, bigger than the biggest. Garima, again, becoming heavy. Or Laghima means light, lightness. Then Praptihi means ability to see, like ESP and all that we say, correct? Extrasensory perception. That is Praptihi. Then Prakamyam means being bright, like that. Then Ishitvam, Vashitvam, all this overlordship and having everything under your mastery, your control. Different lokas and all that are talked about here. So these are the 8 siddhis. In fact, in detail it is explained in one verse. Each of these siddhis, we'll see that quickly. Atyanta manushu pranishva. Okay. Atyanta manushu pranishu atmatvena praveshanam anima samyam aishwaryam vyaptasya paramatmanaha. So vyaptasya, all pervading, paramatmanaha, the Paramatma's aishwarya. So Paramatma pervades everything. Okay. And one of the glories of this Paramatma is what? Atyantam anushu pranishu atmatvena praveshanam. So even the smallest being, prani, living being is there, entering that in the form of its atma itself. That is this power of anima. Means you are the self of the smallest, like an amoeba or bacteria also, you are the self of that. So that is the anima. So you are able to enter that as the self of that itself. Praveshanam atmatvena, as the self of that being. So Paramatma only has entered every being as its very self, that we have been studying in Vedanta. That itself here, in a literal manner, it is said here as the power of anima. Then what? Mahima. Brahmanda Adishivantaya Shatrimshat Tattva Samhatehe Bahischa Vyapya Vrittitvam Aishwaryam Mahima Hvayam. So Mahima means what? Brahmanda Adishivantaya. Starting from Brahmanda to Paramashiva, all these things, whatever, this entire universe, because at least the Shaiva Siddhantins talk about 36 tattvas, Shatrimshat Tattva Samhatehe. So the collection of all these 36 tattvas, okay, which actually make up this Brahmanda and Shiva also. The tattvas themselves, Brahmanda here means we physical elements are there, correct? From there onwards up to Shiva, from Panchabhutas to Shiva, everything, all the tattvas, the collection of all these tattvas do not constitute Brahman. Understand that Brahman transcends all of them and it is still there. That's what I also told you. Pado osya vishwa bhutani. That's what I recollect here when I see this. So Brahman is all these things and more, because Brahma Swarupa is not limited by any of these things. These things can come and go. This entire world, universe, along with all its all its constituents can come and go. Brahman is still there as it is. So it stands beyond, means it transcends all these things. Bahischa vyapya vrittitvam. You are still away from that and greater than that. You transcend all this entire universe, and you are bigger than the biggest. Okay, this entire universe is what we can conceive of as the limitless or biggest thing. But your nature, Brahman, is still beyond that also. That is this Mahima. So Anima and Mahima. Then what? Laghima. Mahameru samangasya samudharana karmani laghave tula tulyatvam laghimanam vidurbudhaha. So the Buddha, those who know things, intelligent people, they know Laghimanam. Laghima means what? They know Laghima as what? Samudharana karmani, with reference to lifting as an action, with reference to the action of lifting. The one who is like this Mahameru mountain, he looks like a mountain, okay? His dimensions are like a mountain. Mahameru samangasya. Okay, the one whose angas are like this mountain, Meru. Okay, but while lifting, that person is like cotton. Tula tulyatvam laghave. But with reference to the lifting action, that person is like cotton, is so light. Even though his dimension is so big, this person is so light. That is called Laghima. That is also a siddhi. Then what? Other way around. Garima. Paramanu samangasya samudharana karmani gurave meru tulyatvam garimanam vidurbudhaha. Now what? This person is as small as an atom. Paramanu samangasya. But with reference to lifting, samudharana karmani, he is very heavy. And how heavy? Like the mountain Meru. Even though he is so small, this person is as heavy as the mountain Meru. And that is what is called Garima, that power or that siddhi. So all these four things we have seen now. Now praptihi patalavasina pumsaha brahmalokavalokanam praptirnama mahaishwaryam sudushprapam ayoginam sudushprapam ayoginam. So ayoginam sudushprapam, those who are not yogis, for them this is not easy to attain. What is this? Praptirnama maheshwaryam. The Aishwarya, the great glory or Aishwarya or power called Praptihi. What is that exactly? Even though you are in Patala, see we have all this 7 up, 7 down, correct? So 7 down also is there. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patala. So Patala is the lowest loka, you can say. But from there you can see Brahma Loka, which is the highest loka, it seems. That means essentially why this Patala and Brahma Loka are talked about is that is the largest expanse one can think of traditionally. So even though you are in Patala, you are able to see what is there in Brahma Loka. That is the extrasensory perception they are talking about here. And that kind of extrasensory perception is what is called Praptihi, Praptirnama Maheshwaryam. And for those who are not yogis, it is not very easy to attain. Sudushprapam ayogina. So this is one more. Then what? Akashagamanadinam anyasam siddhi sampadam svecha matrena samsiddhihi prakamyam abhidhiyate. Okay, prakamyam means akashagamanadinam. I think I told something else before. So essentially your prakamya means you are able to travel wherever you want to go. Okay. All this You can travel even in space on the without actually traveling on ground, etc. Without walking, you can travel wherever you want. Akashadinam, you can go. So that kind of a siddhi, and svecha matrena also. Just by your desire alone, you can go wherever you want to go. That is what is called prakamyam abhidhiyate. It is known as prakamyam. Your ability to go wherever you want by just desiring to go to that place. Okay, that is what is called prakamyam. So this is another siddhi. Okay, this is the one which is called, but prakamyam also is there, but some people also talk about prakashyam. Okay, that is why I told you about this before. So I think there is a, how they count it, there are some differences. So Sureshwara talks about both here. Prakamyam also, which is like ability to travel wherever you want. Or here another one he says, Vasharira prakashena sarvarthanam prakashanam prakashyam idam aishwaryam iti kechit prachakshate. So some people, instead of prakamyam, talk about prakashyam, which is that you are so bright, your own body's brightness itself can make all other things lighted up, brightened, whatever. Now this, looking at this, we again remember, see, every day in the puja also we do arti, karpura nirajanam we do. So what do we chant? Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoya magnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. So really, it is all our Atma Prakasha only. We are the ones who are lighting up everything, correct, as the conscious, aware being. So one way that is actually manifesting like this. Literally, you are able to light up everything. By the light of your own body, you are lighting up all other things. That is called Prakashyam. So either you can count Prakamyam or Prakashyam. One of these two only, I think. Otherwise, it will become 9. So this is also, this is some people, Kechit Prachakshate. So some people consider Prakashyam as one of the Ashta Siddhi. Then what? Further, Ishitvam, Vashitvam is there next. Ishitvam means your ability to do whatever you want. Srishti, Sthiti, all these things. Not just some small thing. To create entire worlds, universe, all these things. So, Svecha Matrena Lokanam Srishti Sthityanta Kartrita Surya Dhinam Niyoktritvam Ishitvam Avidhiyate. Ishitvam means what? You have literally the ability to create an entire loka with its own sun and all that. Solar system maybe. Surya Dhinam Niyoktritvam, and then you impel them to do whatever they are doing, to go around. By your own icha alone. Like even Vishwamitra did, correct? We talk about Trishanku Swarga. So there was a Trishanku Maharaja. He wanted to go to Swarga with the physical body. Okay. Then he went to Vishwamitra, and Vishwamitra promised him, okay, I'll send you. And with his Tapobala, Vishwamitra sent this Trishanku with his body to Swarga. But then he was kicked out from Swarga and he was falling and he was cursing Vishwamitra, I think, at that time. Then Vishwamitra became angry. What did he do? He stopped Trishanku in midair and then created his own Swarga for Trishanku to enjoy. Trishanku Swarga. So like that, Vishwamitra was able to create an entire Swarga Loka for Trishanku by his own Tapobala, his Icha alone. So that is what is called Ishitvam. Okay, so Ishitvam abhidhiyate. This is what is called Ishitvam. Swecha matrena lokanam srishti sthiti. All this you can do. Antakartrita. So you can create a loka, you can sustain it, and then resolve or dissolve or destroy it. All those powers you have. That is Ishitvam. And even you have the power over all these celestial bodies, heavenly bodies like even sun. Suryadinam niyoktritvam. That is Ishitvam. Then what? Salokapala sarvepi lokasva vashavartinaha tadaishwaryam vashitvakyam sulabham shiva yogina. So vashitvakyam, vashitva, what is known as vashitva here? And this vashitvam is what? Shiva yoginam sulabham. Those who are Shiva bhaktas and yogis, for those persons it is easy to gain this vashitvam. Aishwaryam called vashitva. What is that? Salokapalaha sarvepi lokaha. So all the lokas, and along with the lokapalas means those who are there in that loka, who are ruling or protecting that loka. All these people, sarvepi lokaha lokapalascha. All the lokas and the lokapalas are all there in one's vasha, in your control, you can say. Swavasha vartinaha. So everything is there in your vasha, with you. Okay. And such a power, that is vashitvam. So like this, all these 8 siddhis we saw now: anima, mahima, garima, laghima, then praptihi, prakamyam or prakashyam, then ishitvam, vashitvam. These are the ashtasiddhis. Okay, all these ashtasiddhis also come to you. All these things are avantara phala. You don't have to aspire for them. Let them come as you pursue moksha. So now he is saying the same idea. Yastvevam brahmano veti tasya deva vashe sthitaha kim punaksha shmapati vyaghra vyala stri purushadayaha. So evam brahmanaha veti yaha tu evam brahmanaha veti. So in this manner, the brahmanaha who knows, brahmanaha here means Brahmavit only, the one who knows Brahman, or the one who wants to know Brahman, he knows in this manner that aham brahmasmi iti. So brahmanaha means mumukshu, jignasu, the one who wants to know Brahman. That brahmanaha then knows also in this manner means that aham brahmasmi iti, I am the self of all, sarvatmatvam. And for that brahmanaha, that jnani, what? Tasya deva vashe sthitaha. All the devas themselves are in the vasha of this jnani. So this is again a continuation of vashitvam only, I think. So when this jnani has all these devas under his vasha, his control, his mastery, then what to talk about all this? Shmapati means all this, those who are the rulers in this world, correct? Kings, Vyaghra, tiger, Vyala, snake. Then Stri Purushadaya, all other people, women and men. They are all also in this jnanis. For jnani, they are all there in this vasha only. Nobody is beyond. Because jnani is the self of all anyway. That is the vision of the jnani. So nobody is separate. Correct? So they are all in the jnani's vasha only, the one who knows in this manner. For that person, Even that person is the Atma of all the Devas also. And then what to talk about kings, tigers, etc. So like this Vashitvam is praised again here. Further what? Sarvatma bhava samrajya nirantarita chetasam paripakva samadhinam kim nama na siddhyati. So again he is praising that what all cannot be achieved by this jnani. Okay. The one for whom the Sarvatma Bhava Samrajya Nirantarita Chetasam means the one who's always only aware of himself being the self of all, correct? So for such a person, and also for whom Paripakva Samadhinam means one who is mature, one whose mind is mature, and one whose mind is resolved in this Atma, this Atma Swarupa, that person is Paripakva Samadhi. So here this is a Bahuri actually, the one whose mind is mature and whose mind has resolved in this Atma, that person is called Paripakva Samadhi. And the one who is always, his flow of thought is always about oneself being the self of all. Atma Ekatva Jnanam is there, correct? And that is the Samrajya. Sarvatma Bhava itself is the not anything else. Ruling a big country or kingdom in this world is not really Samrajya. Correct? Sarvatmatva Bhava is the real Samrajya, and that is where one's mind is always focused on. One's flow of thought also is only about that. And for such a person, what all cannot be achieved. Or kim nama na siddhyati means everything that person will get, as well get, we have to say. So these are all only praising the jnani, so that one will be interested in this moksha. Understand that. All siddhis will come naturally to a jnani. That is the point here. And therefore pursue jnanam. The other things will automatically come. And then what? Stotram etat patet dhiman sarvatmatvancha bhavayet arvachine spriham muktva phale swargadi sambhave. So specifically now Sureshwara is addressing the aspirant, okay, the mumukshu. What is that? The one who is dhiman means one who has discriminatory intellect, let us say, okay. One who has discriminated, analyzed, and then what? That person is reading this stotram etat pathet, and then what? Sarvatmatvancha bhavayet, and also one who is understanding that I am this self of all. That is what you are focused on always, correct? You are assimilating that knowledge. So may you assimilate this knowledge. Okay, that is what bhavayet means here. He is giving you a command kind of a thing. So may you always be focused on sarvatmatvam, that you are the self of all. May your thought process be focused on that. May you always keep reading this stotra and be focused on that fact, and not be interested in other things, correct? Arvachine, all these lowly things. Spriham muktva, do not have any. See, because there is always some natural tendencies there, correct? Between the indriya and the indriyartha, there is a natural tendency is there. If you go along with the natural tendency, then you become asura. That is what even there in Vrihadaranyaka, third Brahmana in the first chapter also, Bhashyakara, he says, who is Asura? Asusu Ramate, one who goes along with his natural tendency and engages the Indriyas on the Indriyarthas. That's what normal people do. But if you want to be a Deva, means what? You don't go along with your natural tendency, but you go by what Shastra is saying. So you see yourself in the light of how Shastra is revealing you, and you go along with that. You don't go for all these lowly things. In fact, if you take yourself as a karta and keep doing all this karma, you can get the phala also for that. You can even go to Swarga. Swargadi sambhave phale muktva spriham muktva. So even this is what Bhagavan also says, Yami mam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipastitaha veda vadaratah partha nanyadasti iti vadinaha and up. So this Veda is showing you, it's like a supermarket, right? It is giving you so many sadhana and sadhya. You should have actual vairagya and go for moksha. So that is what Sureshwara is pointing out here. So don't go for all these siddhis. They are all only limited. You go for moksha, all these other things also you will as well gain. And that is the real samrajya. Only a few more verses are there. Maybe we'll see it next week and we'll also just get a summary of everything. So most probably we'll finish this next week. Then we'll decide what we'll do further. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद।